This is a new program to be aired with MuslimDo in this new season. And as I said, the title is Raising Children in Challenging Environment, where we will be, inshallah, looking at a story where a prophet was raised in one of the most difficult environments to raise a child, which is the story of Musa, Sayyidina Musa, alayhi salatu wassalam, wa ala rasulina salatu wassalam. How did Sayyidina Musa manage, whether him on his own, whoever was responsible for his tarbiyah, to be raised in the house of Fir'aun, al-Taghiyah, Fir'aun, the man that we all know, the dictator, the evil man. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed for Musa alayhi salam to be raised in such environment where Bani Israel also were a minority in Egypt. So a lot of similarities that we will be able to draw, inshallah, between our condition as a Muslim minority in Canada, also applies to US and Europe, and the story of Musa alayhi salam as a great character that was raised in one of the greatest, or sorry, most difficult and challenging environments. Today, we will start an introduction. Before we get into the story of Musa alayhi salam, we'll start with an introduction on tarbiyah, just to put things in perspective. And the challenges, for sure, for tarbiyah. So when we say challenging environment, what kind of challenges do we have? First thing that we need to ask ourselves, do we realize the true meaning of tarbiyah? If I want to perform a task and I was asked by someone, go ahead, do tarbiyah. Do I fully understand the dimensions and the meaning of the word tarbiyah? Second question, are we as parents in the West, with the very busy, stressful life that we live in, are we able to perform tarbiyah? We need to ask ourselves those questions. Question number 3, is there anybody else that's interested in raising your kids? Or is it only us that are interested in raising our kids? And that's a very, very important question that we need to ask ourselves. Who else is interested in raising our kids? And what does that even mean? We'll get to it, inshallah. And the last question that I'm going to pose today as an introduction, what are the goals and the objectives of a tarbiyah? First, let me explain a tarbiyah as it was explained by scholars from an Islamic perspective, the understanding of the word tarbiyah في اللغة العربية, in the Arabic language, and how that word reflects on the action. Because as we know, the Arabic language, Arabic words are very deep in meaning. Thus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Arabic to be the language of the Holy Quran. There's very deep meaning in the word. You could draw and derive a lot and a lot of understanding about the action from the word itself. So the word tarbiyah, as explained, could mean al-hifdhu wal-ri'ayah, is protection and is caregiving. So in its essence, when we say tarbiyah, that means you have to offer protection and you have to offer care for the person that you are responsible for. So under your tarbiyah, mainly your children, what do you have to do for those children? Protection is number one. Physical protection, emotional protection. The feeling that they have a father and a mother gives them a lot of protection and safety, if you will, sense of security for them to grow healthy. So just by your presence, and mark the word presence because we're going to get back to it soon. Just by your presence as parents, you're offering that sense of security, given that you are treating them properly, for sure. But as parents, your presence will give them a sense of security and protection, and definitely you care for them. What kind of care here? We're talking about physical, psychological care. At the stage, al-ri'aya, so you're feeding them, you're making them feel loved, you're making them feel respected, dignified. That bundle of emotions is what you are giving to your children under the banner of protection and care. Also, under protection and care is the physical needs that you are serving as parents. You're feeding them, nursing, everything put together under this banner. So this is the first step of tarbiyah. Unfortunately, a lot of people stop there. They don't go beyond that step, which is, alhamdulillah, it's good to give protection and care, but it's not enough. We will know now why it's not enough. Another explanation or definition for tarbiyah is التهذيب وعلو المنزلة. And التهذيب, which is edification, refinement, and the exaltment. So basically also purification. So you've served the basic needs, emotional needs, physical needs, and now you need to raise, you need to exalt, you need to put them at a higher level in purified intellectual humans. So not just serving their instinctual needs, you need to lift them up and make something great out of them. That's what التهذيب وعلو المنزلة kicks in. So that's another important definition or factor in tarbiyah. Tarbiyah also in Arabic means الزيادة والنماء. الزيادة والنماء, it's to grow something. So if our growth in character and physical growth, the physical takes you to a certain part where you are a healthy human being, where you are a stable, psychologically stable human being, that by itself is not enough to create extraordinary people, if you will, people that can produce and they can do a lot of things. That's not enough. You need to take them the extra step in tarbiyah, which is a ziyada wa nama, is the growth, the purification, the refinement, edification that we're looking for to create great humans that could leave a legend behind them for humanity. Tarbiyah is also islah wa tahdeed. And we talk about tahdeed, it's al-islah, is the to reform, correction, meaning it's a continuous process where you are performing the tarbiyah, serving the needs, raising them to do something special, and correcting their actions. And the correction is a continuous process because there will be mistakes, there will be pitfalls, there will be sidetracking. This is normal. We're humans, whether it's intentional or unintentional. There will be sidetracking. So islah, the idea of al-islah, the continuous correction, the corrective action that you need to take, is part of your tarbiyah. So don't get frustrated with it. Don't think that there's something wrong because you're continuously correcting your children's actions. This is part of the tarbiyah that you have to do. And I ended with this beautiful definition that I found in one of the old books on tarbiyah, which is insha'u shay'in halan fahalan ila hadd al-tamam. Insha' is when you are building something step by step till you reach completion. Beautiful meaning. because it gives you that great understanding that the tarbiyah is a continuous process. They're building a block over a block. Some blocks might fall. You need to lift it up again, put it in the right place, step by step by step, till you reach the completion. And inshallah, a stage where you're happy that you were able to produce a great human being, great men and women that could do great things for humanity. So with this in mind, it's a process that's subjected to a disruption, interruption, subjected to, these disruptions and interruptions, something could fall, something could break. You need to keep going and never give up and never get tired. I want to add something to sum it all up, a definition that I believe is simple, straightforward, and it serves our purpose in explaining a tarbiyah in our day and time. And it's this concept is implanting the principles and ideas that sets humans' behavior. So focus on this really well. What is tarbiyah, if you want to sum it up? You are implanting principles, ideas in your child that will produce or influence or impact their behavior. Because eventually, we want to know how our children behave. There's good behavior, there's bad behavior. How do I impact that behavior to stay positive, to stay productive, to stay good? It's the principles and the ideas. And who implant those? You. Is it only you? Actually, we know that it's not only you. And this is why this definition is important, because now we realize that every single business, corporate, ideology out there is interested in planting ideas and principles into your children to influence their behaviors. Why? Because, for example, the big corporates that are selling something attractive, they want to create customers. So they want to create consumers. So they would love for every single child on earth to be a very strong, avid consumer where they can sell more products. There are a lot of ideologies out there that they want to create followers. So everybody is competing to raise your child, not only you. Everybody's competing to raise your child. Everybody wants to implant the ideas and the principles to make sure the behavior of this generation will benefit them. And this is the real challenge. And this is, inshallah, what we're going to talk about in details in our next episode. Jazakumullah khair for following us and for your attention. And inshallah, next Wednesday we'll continue. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless its effort and we'll all benefit from it. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.